Toledo assembly plant a fixture in the state of Ohio since the late 1800s. Back then, the Willys Overland factory was making the most fashionable means of transportation, the bicycle. At the turn of the century, transportation took a giant step forward, and the Willys Overland car was born. Entire families moved to Toledo to work in this budding industry. It provided a steady paycheck right through the Depression era and was one of the founding businesses in the city of Toledo. With the beginning of the next decade, America was called to war, and every able American citizen and business responded. The automobiles up to that point weren't up to the harsh demands of combat travel. The people at the Toledo plant produced a prototype to meet all the transportation needs of the American Army. It was called a general purpose vehicle, or simply the GP. During the testing of the GP, one of the soldiers affectionately referred to it as Jeep, and the nickname stuck. During the next 4 years, the Jeep became to the American soldier what the horse was to the cavalryman. Back in Toledo, the plant's workforce that 2 generations ago made bikes was now producing Jeeps en masse. By the end of the war, the Jeep had become a mainstay in the American way of life. As the auto industry developed, the Jeep took on different looks, but it always remained a solid means of transportation. The Jeep plant in Toledo went through several name changes as one owner was bought out by another.
With the elements and forcing them to obey his will. Before that intricate mechanism, an automobile can roll up to your door in all its shining beauty. Brawny workers have labored skillfully in this uproar of sound. From the flaming furnaces of the foundry runs a stream of white-hot liquid. Dangerous business for the novice to handle this fiery metal, but long practice has steadied the hands of these masters. A single false move by the workman might mean death. Down comes the massive hammer, and tons of weight have shaped the crankshaft. It is turned into forge, and again the hammer falls, and the shaped forging is ready for machining operations. Wheels and levers move like the tentacles of an octopus. There can be no error here as the human element is eliminated. The mighty press crunches a sheet of steel between the jaws of perfectly formed dies, and out comes a rear fender, all one piece of steel. Throughout the plant, the hiss of sparks denote that steel is being welded to steel, joined forever with no chance for strain or stress to part that which has been so fused together. Each vital part is subjected to endless tests. Here, with the aid of a scientific testing machine, this craftsman can detect any indication that the crankshaft is out of proper balance. Here we see another extraordinary product of man's inventive genius. This automatic piston machine turns the side, the skirt, and the ring grooves of a piston in one operation. Now, in our all too brief tour of inspection, we arrive at the engine assembly line. After the piston and connecting rods are inserted, the crankshaft and camshaft are put in place, and with a twist of the wrist, the engine is turned over and the gasket and head are placed in position. The engine must undergo many tests and inspections. Each engine is given a 2-hour run-in under its own power, and then it is placed on a dynamometer where it must show the standard horsepower output. What appears to be an intricate maze is in reality a marvelously ordered system of overhead conveyors bringing together the multitude of units for coordination. Radiators, fenders, axle assemblies, batteries, moving hither from other parts of the plant, automatically marshaled each to its proper place. Here on the final assembly line converge all the streams of effort. Here is the culmination of the absorbing process of building a car. Now it's beginning to look like an automobile, but still lacking is the heart of the car, without which we have nothing but a web of steel and iron, a dead thing.
Morning, Barney.
Good morning, Danny.
You know Joe Larsh and Ben Collins?
Hello, glad you're here. Sit down, Ben. Sit down, Joe.
Barney, Joe's our dealer in Martinsburg, and Ben has his place in Fowlerville.
Well, what do you think of our plant setup?
This is Joe's first trip to the factory, and he's really impressed with everything.
Yeah, even this administration building. I didn't expect anything like this.
We're proud of our ad building. It's one of the most beautiful in the industry.
And gosh, the changes you've made in the factory, I can't get over that.
Yes, it's been going on steadily for the past 3 years. Willys Overland has spent more than $30 million in tooling and plant rearrangement. We've put in some of the most modern machine tool equipment and installed an entirely new press shop that's the last word in efficiency. We have everything in the way of equipment. Nothing is lacking. We're keeping abreast of the times and moving in towards lower and lower costs and better design.
That's mighty good news, Barney. We sure have the product.
Yeah, I'm just beginning to get the drift after 6 months as a dealer.
First Jeep on September 23, 1940, other companies were jumping on the Jeep bandwagon. Willys Overland, for instance, developed a vehicle with better power and performance. Finally, the government decided to incorporate all the fine features of the products of the companies and build them onto a Willys chassis. Soon they were rolling off the assembly line for shipment to the battle-torn front lines of Europe and Africa. From then on, there was no looking back. This short, squat, incredible vehicle started its own legend, scuttling in and out of numerous victorious battles. Its hood often served as a command post. Sometimes it served as an altar. And always its traction defied any form of terrain confronting it. Privates pampered it. Generals praised it. And WACs respected it, especially when getting into or out of its unfeminine chassis.
Four-wheeling. Jeep four-wheeling. For fun, as much as you can take. Yes, and it's still Jeep four-wheeling for work, where endurance and dependability really pays off. It's Jeep for stretching your horizons. And it's Jeep for expanding your own opportunities for as far as you care to reach. The four-wheel driving world is growing, and Jeep is growing with it. For the pure joy of motion, for work, for simple, reliable transportation, or for the off-road adventures, nothing compares with Jeep for 1974.
The new American Motors four-wheel drive product line continues as direct descendants of the legendary World War II reconnaissance vehicle.
In 1987, Jeep changed hands as Chrysler acquired American Motors, placing Jeep in the new Jeep Eagle division. Under Chrysler, the 1,000,000th Jeep XJ, a 1990 Cherokee Limited, was built at the Toledo Assembly Plant in March 1990. As Jeep enters its 50th year, the brand celebrates with the introduction of 2 new engines unmatched for power, and the reemergence of the Jeep Renegade, the ultimate Wrangler.
had the product. That's a well-recognized fact by the industry and the public at large. The Willys Overland line is unique. It's fitted to the needs of the people in a way that no other line of motor transportation touches or even attempts to cover. We have the Jeepster, the sports Phaeton. There's no other open car in America like it. It's the kind of a car the young people like, and it's just right for the second car. And we have the utility line.
Yeah, and they do a job no other make even comes near.
There shouldn't be much competition in those two lines, should there? But with the four-wheel drive line, there's absolutely no competition.
There sure isn't.
Those four-wheel drive vehicles go places that a two-wheel drive wouldn't even attempt. And no other manufacturer makes a four-wheel drive for even near the price. So with a product line designed for the greatest variety of uses in the greatest variety of markets, we're in a highly enviable position.